Welcome to the Black Friday 2021 Toolkit webinar. My name is Brendan Hughes and I'm a long-time e-commerce marketer and the CEO of Optily. Optily is an ad spend optimization software that lets you manage cross-channel campaigns in just minutes per day. Today I'm very excited to be leading a discussion about Black Friday tactics that will help e-commerce businesses succeed this holiday season. This webinar is a follow-up to a collaborative white paper we put together with our partners and can be found on optily.com/Black Friday 2021. The partners that helped us put this together, this essential toolkit, are FactFinder. So FactFinder is Europe's leading technology for higher conversion, whose full marketing suite combines all online shop functions that lead customers to the right products in record time. Here today from FactFinder is Christy Collins, Chief Operating Officer. Christy brings with her a wealth of experience in the e-commerce space, including leading roles at SAP and Hybris. Originally from North Carolina, she's living in Munich for nearly 10 years now. Hi, Christy.
Hi, nice to be here today.
It's great to have you. Thank you very much. And Tom Baker is the CEO of FordeBaker. He's here today representing the full-service Amazon consultancy with clients across Europe, North America and Australia. Tom brings over 5 years experience selling on Amazon to his role as founder and CEO. Previously, he spent 12 years in various digital marketing roles with startups and multinational brands. And Tom now leads the agency's growth and business operations functions. Hey, Tom.
Hi, Brendan. Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Our third partner is Outfund. Outfund is the UK's largest e-commerce investor, specialising in revenue-based financing. Here today is Jackson Whitten, who's the growth manager at Outfund. Jackson has several years of experience operating at the intersection of technology and client management. Having worked as a consultant for several early-stage businesses, he currently oversees the Outfund portfolio and is integral to understanding and solving client problems. You're very welcome, Jackson.
Very nice to be here.
So first of all, thank you to all of you and your organizations for getting involved with our white paper and making it the awesome tome that it is. So I encourage everybody who's connected to this webinar today to log on and to get their free copy of the white paper. So let's talk about Black Friday. According to Adobe, Black Friday revenues in the US surged by a whopping 22% in 2020, hitting this record $9 billion. And while 2020 was an exceptional year for e-commerce, we're seeing more modest growth maybe in 2021. So with that in mind, what will be different this year during Black Friday and the holiday season that brands need to prepare for? So maybe, Christy, would you take that question up front and what's your perspective on Black Friday this year?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're still in a bit of an uncomfortable state. So while I don't believe that many stores will shut down over the season like they were required to do last year, you can be sure that online is here to stay. Retailers need to invest heavily in that online experience. And even though many shoppers will want that physical experience back with all of this energy and excitement of the season, many stores will be required to limit the number of shoppers that are allowed in their store at one time, meaning that those shoppers may have to wait outside in long lines in whatever kind of weather, leading those who wanted that physical experience right back to the online experience and often on their mobile. So we can't forget about that mobile experience either. Shoppers do have higher expectations now around that digital experience. So with that in mind, many leading retailers are now providing things like location-based features in their online channels, matching product availability and regional prices. These types of experiences will be crucial given the uncertainty around everything. Even if the stores are open, shoppers may decide to stay home this year.
Okay, so it's going to be much more omni-channel this year than maybe last year was. And your key message there is make sure our mobile is working as well as it can be.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And Tom, if I can put that same question to you from an Amazon perspective, what's going to be different this year?
I think the key difference is that there's a lot of new businesses or new brands on Amazon because of the monumental shift to sort of buying online, and obviously Amazon being the kind of the main winner in that kind of systemic change. So I think we'll see lots of new brands trying things out for the first time on Black Friday. That means, some will do it well, some will do it not so well. I think we'll see more sort of heavy discounting from those newer brands onto Amazon. I think more mature businesses on Amazon will probably take I suppose a calmer approach through Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I think the reason for that is just partly down to the logistical challenges that everyone's facing, whether it's supply chain or specific to Amazon, with them restricting the amount of inventory that you can actually hold in an Amazon fulfillment center at the moment. So I think those that have kind of been there and done it before will probably be less aggressive with their discounting and promotion. And what that means for other businesses, if they want to be aggressive and they can be aggressive, operationally, that they've got the foundations right, then there probably will be opportunities to go in there with a kind of fresh perspective and take some really huge sales on Amazon.
Okay. Jackson, we go to you and then we maybe open discussion a little bit. So you're obviously involved with companies from a funding and a finance perspective. So supply chains is something that you're very kind of familiar with. Do you want to tell us a little bit, for people who mightn't be familiar with the concept of revenue-based financing, and then maybe tell us what you think is different this year for Black Friday?
Of course. Background on revenue-based finance. So we like to think that it combines the best of debt and equity finance and avoids the worst of each. So the principle is pretty simple. Many early stage and e-commerce businesses generate relatively predictable monthly revenue streams, and providers can lend against those future earnings, potential lack of assets that a startup might have. So the essence of the idea is providing financing in exchange for a share of future revenues. And in terms of supply chain, I'd really double down on what's already been said. I think that's really going to be the major difference. There's a whole confluence of issues that have really come to a head at the same time. So whether that was initially Brexit and then COVID, the enduring effects of the Suez Canal incident, the Delta variant, the pingdemic, key transport hubs around the world being affected, labor shortages, it's really this nexus of event, and have made supply chain issues sort of incredibly disruptive for Q4. And these are universal, by the way. Tim Cook, Apple CEO, said on their last quarterly earnings call that they're paying more for freight than they would like. So these problems are being felt across the board. They have a knock-on effect on the cost of goods, delivery times for the end consumer, and crucially, as Tom mentioned, the depth of the discount that some brands are available to offer.
Okay. And Tom, if I can come back to you on that, because you made an interesting point in the white paper around, shipping to Amazon in particular, and maybe doing it in smaller increments. You want to just tell us a little bit about the rationale behind that? Yeah.
So pre-pandemic, you could send in as much inventory into Amazon as you like. So if you're a third party selling on the platform, that is. So there's no restrictions in terms of how many units you'd send in and kind of how long they were kept at the Amazon fulfillment center. So, you're in full control essentially, but because of this huge swathe of growth and demand on Amazon, and it takes a long time to be operationally catching up with that demand, adding more and more fulfillment centers, they just haven't been able to keep up with that demand. So they've restricted the amount of units that many brands can hold at Amazon at any one time. And those numbers continually shift on a daily basis. So we've got clients. So we've just come through this kind of summer season in the UK working with sun care brands. And obviously everything goes through sort of May to August. And it's just been a daily sort of battle to make sure that we're able to get the stock in and just to keep things running and capitalize on that demand. But so what that actually means, how we dealt with that, was to do weekly shipments into Amazon. So it was much smaller quantities, but on a much more frequent basis. and we were able to manage the demands of those kind of restrictions that were put in place. Specific to Black Friday and Cyber Monday, what we'll find is that those restrictions will still be in place, but also everyone's doing it at the same time. And even sort of pre-pandemic, that stock might have taken longer to be sort of received by Amazon and then put into the fulfillment center. So normally it can be anything from sort of 1 day to sort of 5 days, but before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, that time gets extended out naturally. That's always going to happen. So bringing together sort of restrictions on the amount of stock you can send in, plus the fact that it's going to take Amazon longer to process that stock as it comes into the fulfillment center anyway, you've really got to be planning ahead and trying to build up your stock as much as possible, so that when Black Friday, Cyber Monday comes and you've got all your plans in place, all your marketing plans, that you've actually got enough stock to capitalize on that opportunity. The only other thing that I say to it is that it's not just playing that game isn't just about the inventory management, it's about your sales as well. So increasing your sales now with Amazon will increase your stock capacity with Amazon. So if you are really concerned about the amount of stock that you will be able to hold with Amazon before Black Friday, do something about it now. I try to increase your sales so that Amazon responds to that and increases your limits.
Okay, makes sense. Christy, if I can turn to you for a second. So Tom mentioned something there earlier on about how maybe a lot of smaller brands will be doing a lot of experimentation as they, around Black Friday, and maybe the larger brands are, things take longer, decisions take longer, maybe not so much experimentation. On the advertising side, which is more, let's say, an Optily space, we see a lot of experimentation going on in advance, and then people are a little bit more cautious, right, in the days leading up. They want to have a proven strategy and kind of have things worked out. From an on-site optimization perspective, like, what's your thoughts on experimentation? Is it too late by the time Black Friday comes around to start experimenting, or what should people be doing now, maybe?
Yeah, it's not too late for everything. So that is the good news. And there are 3 things that I think of right off the top of my head that you can start doing now. And one of those things is to make sure you've got your on-site redirects covered. When people search on your site, they're not always looking for a specific product. Often they're searching for information. So you want to redirect your popular keywords to information pages. An example is you probably don't have any products called Black Friday or Cyber Monday, but definitely people will start typing those words into their search bar to look for deals. So you want to redirect to a landing page that's made special for these types of occasions with your biggest deals. You want to have some countdowns, some things like that. Other important things to think about would be landing pages around shipping, returns, COVID policies, especially. It's a really quick way to decrease the bounce rate and to keep people on your site. It also will appeal to people's tendency to treat a search bar like they do with Google, which, you just type in whatever comes to mind and you expect that the results are relevant. The second thing you can go ahead and do is quickly create some merchandising campaigns on your category pages to highlight the biggest deals in that product type. With Fact Finder, it can take as little as 5 minutes to implement that. So again, if you haven't done it already, you still have time. It also helps you showcase products based on your business objectives and can improve the performance of your landing pages. And of course, many people know exactly what they're looking for during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but you shouldn't forget about those winter shoppers like me. I'm browsing around, I'm hoping to find something that looks like the perfect gift. And in that case, gift guides are a really great and relatively quick way to guide shoppers like me to products that will ease the holiday gifting stress, which ultimately leads to conversion on your side.
Yeah, brilliant. And you touched on something there, which is around in this pre-period, because, we're going to have very intense sales and offers maybe on that weekend. And we see a lot of direct-to-consumer and e-commerce brands getting prepared, right? So they're running teaser campaigns on the, in particular, maybe on the social channels, saying, "Hey, Black Fridays, join our VIP waiting list," etc. Maybe Tom, if I can switch to you on that. So in Amazon, you don't own the customer, right? So what kinds of things can you do in advance to, so that people are going to come back to you, hopefully, for those deals on Black Friday, and you maybe not go to your competitors?
Yeah, so it's definitely more limited than what you could do with your own website. But I think there's things that you can do to sort of build up awareness, let's say, before the big day. So pre-Black Friday, a lot of brands will be increasing their ad spend to build up greater awareness, kind of that top of funnel awareness for those products, so that people have looked at them, explored the content, maybe the brand storefront as well, to actually find out about this brand and these products, and then maybe kind of bookmark those for later, assuming there might be a deal for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. You can't sort of pre-warn people that there will be a discount, but I think there's an assumption from most consumers that most brands will be doing some kind of discount on Amazon anyway. So yeah, there's going to be things like that I definitely recommend. It's not just about the awareness, but you're going to get some sales through that period anyway, and anything you can do to boost your sales in the weeks before Black Friday will give you greater exposure when it comes to actually Black Friday and people are ready to buy there and then. So we talk about sort of sales velocity on Amazon and the importance of getting as many sales through as possible with a sort of fixed amount of traffic that you might be able to send to your product. So the more that you can drive sales before Black Friday means that Amazon's then going to reward you with better organic rankings, just more exposure, impressions throughout the ecosystem. And then when it comes to Black Friday, you're there ready to capitalize on that. You've got the right organic rankings for the right keywords, and then when those people come on ready to buy, they can see it, and you kind of win out with that strategy. For Amazon, it's not necessarily about what you do on the day of Black Friday. It's the weeks beforehand where, whether it's operationally or from a marketing point of view, it's the build up that's the key thing. And then that Friday to Monday period is really just making sure that you're operationally effective and that your advertising is working, as you expect it to, and you're monitoring your return on ad spend through those days.
Okay, and maybe just on that, so Christy talked about those information kind of pages. Mm-hmm. Are those keywords as critical on Amazon? The Black Friday keywords early on, or when do you start changing copy or building out more content?
So we would normally do it sort of maybe a week to 10 days beforehand. So, and it's nothing like, no huge changes. We probably change some keywords in the copy so that, obviously we're referencing Black Friday, Cyber Monday, gifts, that kind of thing. And we would, depending on the type of product and the brand, we may update some of the creative on the product pages as well. So we've got that sort of Black Friday feel to the creative assets within the product page. And the other thing that we'll probably do is on the storefront, you can have a seasonal storefront. So it's not fixed in time. It's very much like a website homepage. So bring those products that you plan to put forward for Black Friday, make sure they're the most visible ones on your storefront in the weeks beforehand, and then during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So they've just got more visibility, really. And then once you get to sort of Black Friday, you can switch the creative and start to sort of really promote those products you have put forward for the deals. So I think it's around, as I say, there's not as much choice and decisions that need to be made when it comes to a website, but there are things you can do to make sure you've got the right products in front of the right people at the right time, just with those kind of small tweaks.
Cool. And Jackson, what are you seeing the successful direct-to-consumer brands doing at this point? So we're now, several weeks out. What's happening? What should they be doing?
I mean, I think really financial stability can be used as the springboard for the rest of your business goals, right? And obviously, we're not that far. To borrow a phrase from a friend of mine in the RAF, you should take care of the crocodile closest to the canoe first. By which I mean, e-commerce founders should take care of their most urgent need first, and then proceed. That begs the question: what is the most urgent need? I'm talking to hundreds of founders from ones I've worked very closely with. Often, that biggest obstacle is capital. And once you formulate your marketing strategy and finalize your operational plan, it's useful to break down what capital you'll need at what point to execute. Revenue-based finance is very flexible and means founders can access the right amount of capital at the right time. So instead of thinking, I need 300K for the whole of Q4, having to take on that full amount, which means a higher risk, a higher cost of capital, they can need 100K in October for stockpiling. I need 100K in November for both marketing and additional stock potentially, and another 100K in December to kind of blitz marketing before Christmas. So this idea of capital as a service makes a lot of sense, I think, for growing businesses, having to flex at different times. And equally, if consumer demand dramatically increases over the Black Friday weekend, they can then take additional funding to meet that demand.
Okay. So and so maybe two questions on that. So are you seeing that shift? Is it already shifting from, let's say, inventory financing now into marketing financing? Have we already hit that inflection point?
To be honest, no. I mean, I've spoken to quite a few of our clients in our portfolio this week who are getting in their inventory orders now to set them up for the whole of Q4. Often this is because on the supply side, suppliers are saying the only way we can guarantee you're going to have stock ready for Black Friday and for Christmas is if you order upfront a month in advance. So their hands are kind of being forced by suppliers, and equally, it's a risk they can't really afford to take. That they're happy to kind of pay that up front as long as they get access, guaranteed access to that inventory. But still, people are starting. Obviously, they're starting to put their strategy in place, but really they're doubling down on ensuring they've got stock availability.
Yeah. Okay. And then just the concept of capital as a service is interesting. Just maybe explain to us a little bit how that works. So we're let's say 2 or 3 weeks out from Black Friday, and we've got a certain marketing budget allocated, but actually our ROAS, our return on ad spend, is much better than we thought, and we have plenty of inventory. Is it that easy then just to dial it up and get, because there's now more opportunity? How easy is it, right, in reality?
I mean, in reality, we review our funding opportunities on a monthly basis, to our founders and CEOs and our clients. What do you need for 6 months? We say, what do you really need for the next 45 days? We can make that happen. And then once those 45 days are up, we can review things and we can look to provide additional funding. Obviously, the ideal situation for us and for the merchant is that they take that initial funding. They get that ROAS, they get that return, their revenues rise accordingly, and then we can make additional funding offers based on that increased revenue volume. So there's this funding effect from sort of initial to then follow-on investment.
Okay, cool. And maybe, Jackson, I'll stay with you for this question, which is, is Black Friday, do you see it as it's all about generating immediate returns and revenues, or are there some longer term kind of objectives that you see at play with brands?
Well, I think there's lots of different kind of answers to that question. I mean, depending on the kind of the business objectives, there's various things that can be achieved. So as I mentioned, kind of one of the most powerful things to maximize the potential of Black Friday in terms of your kind of your revenue potential is if you use that compounding effect. So it's if you can achieve a high margin of return on that initial investment, and then you can that return into further, obviously the investment will match that. So that can kind of extend the horizon of Black Friday into a really powerful springboard then for 2022. But equally, we're having this kind of Black Friday Toolkit webinar, but I've been actually speaking to a couple of brands today, one in the kind of outdoor wear industry, who are very kind of ecologically switched on. and they're thinking, okay, we still want to get involved in Black Friday. We still want to maximize our sales, maximize that revenue volume, but how can we be different? How can we kind of mark ourselves out? And so they're doing a kind of a sort of ocean-based month as opposed to one weekend, where they can take advantage of the kind of the cheaper traffic towards the beginning of the month, and B, this percentage of our sales we're going to donate to an ocean charity, and so that's a point of differentiation. So I think how brands are looking at Black Friday and going, okay, it's obviously now this kind of staple in the consumer year. How can we mark ourselves out is a really interesting point.
Yeah, and Christy, maybe if you can pick up on that, you guys are the experts in on-site, let's call it merchandising and nurturing people through the purchase journey on-site. How big do you need to go with discounts, or are there other things that are more impactful, like some of maybe what Jackson was saying? There's other things that might resonate with consumers. Does it need to be a 70% discount? So what are you guys seeing as the kinds of triggers that work well?
I believe that, as exactly what Jackson said, you have to find ways to stand out, and that may not be just about discounting, but I really love that idea of the month that he just mentioned. It will really appeal to some people. The biggest thing that you want is to be memorable. And part of being memorable is to create a great impression. Ensuring that your visitors leave your site with that positive impression means that they come back time and again. If it meets with their value system, as in what Jackson was just speaking about, maybe you are price conscious and that appeals to you. These are the things that you have to reach out into your base and think about what will make you memorable. Even if you have shoppers that have been loyal in the past, if they have a bad experience during this stressful, even though it's a special time of year, it can be stressful. If they have a bad experience, it's really easy for them to go somewhere else, especially in the online world. It's a lot faster to go somewhere else than it is for me to drive to another shop. And if you think about loyal customers, making sure you have your newsletter visible, that it's attractive, that it's relevant, that it leads the customer into your site with the promise of future deals and the types of events that Jackson was talking about. These are really important things to do. And of course, really being aware that regardless of how great the deal is or the discount, if your site is clunky, if people can't navigate through it, then you get to the point you can't influence the customer to return. So you have to start with optimizing your site, understanding your customer base, and giving those customers an experience.
Okay, so would you say then that the balance is more about trying to build a relationship, not just for now, for making Black Friday work and maybe making a profit from that, and it's a little bit more about the longer term and trying to build relationships and being a place that they like to go back to?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and Tom, on Amazon, how do we achieve that on Amazon, right? How do we build that brand loyalty beyond kind of Black Friday?
Yeah, so I think with Amazon, it's very product dependent. So because you're not the consumer isn't necessarily buying into the brand when they're on Amazon. They're buying a product that serves a specific need that they have, and then over time, that sort of relationship with the brand might develop because they're using the product, they like the product, and so on. So I do think it is definitely different with Amazon. I think the way that we look at it for those businesses is to think about, if there is a natural sort of repeat purchase behavior to the products that brands are selling, then can Black Friday and Cyber Monday and actually the wider holiday season be a period where you're creating exposure for the product? Essentially, it's a trial for those products. A great swathe of consumers coming in wanting product. You get your product in front of those people. Yes, you might not make an amazing margin on the sales there and then, but subsequently, if they come back to Amazon, that product's in their orders page, or they use the subscribe and save service on Amazon, then you can start to build a relationship with those customers, and they're just repeat purchasing into the future. naturally, I think when people are buying products again and again, they do want to get a better sense for the brand as well. So they will go and explore your website, anything you're doing in social media as well. So I think, it comes down to the fundamentals. Can you get your product in front of those people? And is it a great product? People like it and have an amazing experience with it, and then good things will happen as a result of it. So that's Amazon's a great sort of conduit to making that happen.
Yeah. Okay. In when we own our own website and we're advertising, let's say on Facebook, Instagram, Google, etc. One of the critical things we want to be able to do is then speak to those customers again, either through email marketing or through kind of paid media, because we have very defined lists. And that's a big part of what Black Friday, or these kinds of events are about, is getting engagement, so that we can speak to those customers again and again through whatever channels we can. Tell us a little bit about getting the Amazon world. I know I listened to on a podcast recently, you were talking about the DSP and the kind of opportunities for remarketing to people who've either engaged with our brand or who have shown purchase intent in our category, and maybe driving them to our own website or obviously driving them to our Amazon store. What are the kind of options there?
Yeah, so the DSP is a really interesting platform and is growing very, very quickly. So that's Amazon's a display network. So buying media across Amazon Prime TV, Kindle, IMDb, other websites that Amazon owns, plus all of the other publishers that are part of that network. Now, what you can do with that, not many people don't really use it to its full capability. By that I mean, obviously you can drive sales on Amazon with that platform, but you can also drive people to your website through that display and video advertising as well. So you get the benefit of that amazing purchase data on Amazon and using that to build audiences with very specific targeting at scale, and you can drive them to your website. So I think that's something that I obviously highly recommend exploring that. Lots of brands should look at that. I think there's an assumption that all of the Amazon advertising features are only for selling product on Amazon, but actually the DSP does so much more than that. And I think brands that can make that work do see great results with it. So any client that we have that's using the DSP at the moment, that they'll see phenomenal results. So it's something I highly recommend exploring.
Yeah, cool. And I introduced the TLA, the three-letter acronym. So a DSP is demand-side platform for anybody who's listening. So apologies for not explaining that up front. And Christy, one of the wonderful things about a platform like yours is, when we do acquire people either from Amazon's demand-side platform or from advertising across all of the social search, video platforms, is when they land on our site, then we can have this kind of seamless journey. So we can, the kinds of messages and offers that maybe they saw that were specific to that cohort of people, we can represent those. Do you want to, does that work? Does that, is that a highly effective strategy for keeping people kind of through the purchase journey?
Yes, that's definitely one of the strategies that you should employ to keep people through that journey. You want them to stay customers for life. That is where you get your biggest value and where they also get theirs with you. So building that relationship, keeping those relationships there, looking at the commonalities among people, deciding if they've purchased, one product that they're equally as likely to purchase another, even if it's in a different product category. These are the connections you want to draw together to create more value for the future.
Okay, yeah, great. Okay, and maybe if I can kind of get you all to throw maybe in one sentence, right? To give e-commerce marketers, what should they think about most, kind of on the back of this webinar or reading the kind of white paper? I'll give you mine maybe to start the conversation, which is this year has been for people advertising across Facebook and Instagram has been relatively tumultuous, right, in terms of updates from Apple and iOS 14 and what it's meant for their data. So, you know, from my perspective, I would say, like, get your tracking sorted out now, so you know which campaigns, creatives, and audiences, and which combination of those are delivering, so that you can double down kind of your investment accordingly. Because until you get the data sorted out, you don't know where to spend your money. So and do it now, so that you have reliable data. So that would be my hint for people. Jackson, what would yours be? What would be your one thing that you'd say to people now?
Just as a bit of background, I think, you know, it's so important when we talk to founders that it's about mindset, and I think it's often a case of working out your kind of capital outlays over time and realigning your goals on that basis. So say you want to put a plan together to get to 50,000 customers, your response back to yourself should be, okay, well, what would 250,000 customers look like? And what does it take from an organization point if that's really what you're trying to hit? Because the thing is, if you never put yourself in that mindset of trying to get those numbers and get to those outcomes, you never will. So it's not a case of kind of throwing money at the wall and hoping it's magically going to stick. It's a question of forcing your exceptional outcomes early enough so you can actually put yourself on a trajectory where you're going to hit them. So I think my kind of one piece of advice would be, you know, a good financial roadmap will get you to your destination. Work out how much capital you need to grow the business, how much fuel you're going to need to throw on the fire, your vision.
Cool, nice, Jackson. And Christy, so Jackson's talking about having the right mindset coming into Black Friday. So what mindset do you think we should all have at this stage?
Well, definitely use Fact Finder. I mean, that's a great solution and takes care of many of these things we've been talking about today. But yes, mindset is key, and understanding really what your customers are thinking. You know, make sure you know your customers, creating those redirects to your most important information, having great merchandising campaigns ready to go that will appeal to your customers. And all of these things in turn create value for you by decreasing your bounce rate and leading to conversion on your site. So
brilliant. Okay, thank you, Christy. And Tom, on Amazon, how do we create value and drive conversions now? What do people need to be thinking about for Amazon?
I think the key thing for Amazon is to split it into three. So pre, during, and post sort of Black Friday, Cyber Monday period. What are the actions that you need to take in those three phases? And I think just going back to Jackson's point, having a really clear understanding of exactly what it is you want to achieve and then how you're going to achieve it, and then laying that out in those three phases is the best way to sort of structure it and get it down into some easy to manage format, so that you can then really think about kind of what actions you need to take and when to maximize the opportunity on Amazon. So pre Black Friday, you want to be getting your operations sorted. That's absolutely critical. You also want to be boosting your spend advertising on those products that are going to go into Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotion, so that you're boosting the awareness and exposure for those products. Then during the Black Friday, Cyber Monday period, just head down, making sure that things are working properly, and that your advertising spends as effective as possible. And then post Black Friday, there's still going to be huge amounts of people that are on Amazon looking for deals. They might have forgotten about it. There's millions of customers anyway, so there's always going to be lots of people on Amazon that are still looking around for opportunities to get a discount. And you can run discounts before Black Friday and after Black Friday, after Cyber Monday as well. It's not just those 4 days. So don't forget about that post period where there are still millions of people that are looking for opportunities to buy product, and you can capitalize on that. The great thing about that sort of pre and post phases is that your cost per clicks are going to be lower than what they are during sort of Black Friday to Cyber Monday. So just think smartly about sort of how you're going to maximize the opportunity. Where's the best places to spend the money? What's the best time to be spending that money? And then always just making sure the operations are running smoothly.
Great. Thank you, Tom. So if I can maybe summarize a little bit what I'm hearing and key messages are, look, Black Friday is actually not the start, right? Black Friday is in the middle of the season, let's call it. And there's a lot of things we can do in the weeks leading up to it in terms of ensuring that our site is optimal and working, creating a great experience, ensure that we're set up for success in terms of we have the cash and capital available to us, ensure that we're building the velocity in platforms such as Amazon so that when the volume comes in, then everything's kind of primed, that we're building our customer relationships right through the period. And then as we come out of Black Friday, Cyber Monday into the holiday season, making sure that we're able to keep kind of the momentum going. So yeah, look, I think there's lots of insights shared today, and so thank you all for your time. I'm sure our listeners will get a lot out of this, and also again for your contribution into the white paper we've worked on together. If you want to get your copy of it, please go to optily.com/Black Friday 2021. And you can also book in a time with the Optily strategy squad to help you figure out which of our partner solutions can help you kind of over this holiday season. So thank you for your time, and thanks guys for participating. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
for having
Lyndon.
us.
Thanks, everyone.
Much.